Hello, my friends. Thank you for being here. My name is O-Sheena. I'm sharing all of the books that I read in June. It's a little bit late because I've been trying to get my uploads back on track. I took a lot of time off in May and June to finish some university classes I was taking, and I was working full-time at the same time, and I was helping plan some of my friends' wedding festivities. So it was a very busy time. So I only uploaded one video a week in June, but I'm back to 2 videos a week, so I'm so happy to be here, and I am catching up on content because there's a lot of books for me to talk about. I did still read quite a bit in June. I read like 10 books and DNF'd 2, so that's pretty good. When I'm stressed, I read books because it de-stresses me. It gets my mind out of reality for a bit, and that helps me a lot to like de-stress. So I do still read when I'm busy. I just can't like share about content with it. So let's get into this. I will just quickly, I'm gonna do highest rated to lowest rated because I just want to talk about the great books that I read in June, and then we'll go down the list from there. So first 5-star is The Summer Refuge by Gabrielle Meyer. I was so surprised by this book. This is a love-inspired book, and it's a short, you could call it novella, but it's like 200 pages. So I feel like it's a bit longer than a novella. So I don't know what you would call it. Short story maybe? No, I don't know, but I highly recommend it. I thought her writing was great. I was so sucked into the story right away, so I highly recommend this. It is a second chance romance where it opens with there's this storm. This guy lives in the States somewhere, and he owns like kind of a resort, you could say, or like a lakeside resort. It's storming, and this car pulls up, and a woman gets out, and she's clearly very pregnant, and he's like, oh, I don't have any room, whatever. But the Uber just drives away, and he goes to her and is like, oh, I know you. And they're like, oh, hi. And she's like, I didn't know you would be here. And he's like, what are you doing here? And basically they have a history. They used to date, but she, when she graduated high school, was like, I need to get away. I don't want to be here anymore. She moved to France and fell in love with a guy in France. Things were not good there. She got pregnant. He left her. She moves back. And here she is. She's pregnant, and they have a huge history, but he is compelled to help her. So that is the story. Like, she has a place to stay with him, and he takes care of her. It's over the summertime, and she grew up in this small town, so she knows a lot of people, and everyone's like, oh, how's it going, and whatever. It has very strong faith content. They're both Christians, and they're kind of like, yeah, prayer life and just like road to Jesus was really well done, I thought. And I just loved reading their interactions. It was so pure and mature, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought their relationship was so solid. The issues that they had, it wasn't lack of communication. It was like, you hurt me and I don't know how to forgive you. And that was really deep to me. I thought she handled that really well. And I was really impressed. So yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I would highly recommend it. I heard that it's on Kindle Unlimited, but my library had a physical copy, so that's how I read it, and I was really excited. It is in a reading vlog that I filmed in June, so I'll link it down below. The next 5-star in that same reading vlog is The Summer of You and Me by Denise Hunter. I am so surprised that I loved this book. This is the first 5-star I've given Denise Hunter, I think, ever, maybe. Because in the past, either her characters are so annoying, or that's the main thing, or the plot is fine, but it's usually the characters that kill it. But she's been writing just kind of general clean fiction, and I think that's her sweet spot because each book keeps getting better and better. I was so impressed by the way she wrote the dialogue and the characters' like inner feelings. Again, similar to her summer romance, or is that her summer refuge? Because the way that they communicated, it wasn't lack of communication that was the issue, it was feelings. And I don't know how to deal with this and talk to you about it. And it was just bigger than the typical, like, we can't talk. This follows a woman whose husband dies in war, and she has a daughter, and she is kind of in her small town for the summer because it's the 5-year anniversary of his death. And he has a younger brother who has always loved her, and they are still friends. They're still really close friends, actually. He was her rock during the grieving time, and they're really close. And he's always like, yeah, had feelings for her. And it's the story of them, like, it's the story of him telling her about his feelings and her discovering her feelings for him. There's a lot of like kind of messy emotions in that, and I thought she wrote it so well, honestly. It is surrounding a bit of a mystery because she's at a carnival with her daughter and she's taking pictures, and through the camera she sees someone who looks like her husband, and she's like freaking out, follows them, figuring out who this person is and why do they look like each other and all of that. And there's a lot of like family issues. Her mom in particular, there's a lot of like toxic parent relationship in that. But overall, like, I thought the pacing was great. I loved the romance, the dialogue, the outcome, the mystery. Like, I really loved it. I was captivated by it. I did listen to it on audiobook, but I read it in tandem with the physical book, and I loved both. The audiobook was amazing. So yeah, that was 5 stars as well. Okay, next up, 4.5, I gave The Quit List by Katie Bailey. So randomly, my library has been acquiring some indie audiobooks, so that's exciting. So I listened to this on audiobook through my library, and I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. In particular, I do quite like Katie Bailey's writing. So That Happened is a book that I read by her that I gave 5 stars because it was so funny. And yeah, the dialogue just was so good, and I thought the plot was good. For The Quit List, there were just some things that I was like, okay, I'm not going to give this 5 stars, but it's still really good. Like, I thought it was well written and everything. And it has a little bit of the aspect where it's forgettable. Like, it's kind of one of those more forgettable rom-coms. Whereas for me, So That Happened is not forgettable because it just stood out as being like so high quality and like funny. So I'm just comparing it. But yeah, for The Quit List, it follows this girl who is trying to get married, and she's on a date in a bar, and she always goes to the same bar for dates. So the bartender has noticed, like, this girl's always here. She always is with sucky guys. And one of the guys that she's with one night is just being really inappropriate and making her uncomfortable. So the bartender like comes up to her and pretends, I'm pretty sure, to be either her next date or her boyfriend or something. And so he like saves her from that situation. And she's like, you need to help me. Like, I need your help like on how to flirt and how to date and everything. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. But slowly she wears him down, and he agrees because they banter so well together. The banter in particular between them, they're just constantly going back and forth, and it wasn't like annoying and it wasn't inappropriate. It was just funny. So it was entertaining in that way, but at the same time forgettable for me. So whatever. I quite liked it. It has no language. There is one kind of steamy makeout session, but that's it. Like there's no spice at all. And it's not, I wouldn't say that it's vulgar or like has a lot of innuendos. Like, it's pretty tame in that way. So yeah, I give it 4.5 stars. Okay, next up, 4 stars. I forget if I've talked about this in a wrap-up yet, but I'll talk about it quickly here. It's 2 Seconds Too Late by Dani Pettrey. This is a new release from her, and it is the second book in the Jeopardy Falls series, I think trilogy, I'm guessing. And I really enjoyed this one. It follows one of the characters that you met in the first book and her romance. So it follows the sister from the first book and the kind of like brother's best friend figure from the first book as well. So they have to like pretend to date or pretend actually to be married at this resort to try to uncover this mystery, and that is the story. It's quite funny. The only annoying thing is they did talk about there is an age gap. Like, I don't know how much it is. It's either 10 years or less, and she's like in her mid-20s and he's in his 30s. So it's not that bad, but they did kind of talk about it a lot. Like, he's like, no, you're my brother's younger sister. I can't be with you, but they have a connection and whatever. So a little bit of that dynamic was annoying to me, but I thought the plot was good. I did like the characters. Just, I guess the romance didn't hit quite that hard for me, so 4 stars, but still a good addition. I'm definitely gonna read the next one, and I'm glad that I read this one. Okay, then I'll talk about The Final Word by Laura Thomas. I was given a free ebook copy to read and review, and I really enjoyed this one. 4 stars, of course, and this is the sequel to, I don't know what the series itself is called, but the first book is called Captured in Frame. And yeah, this is the second book. It follows one of the sisters. There's these 3 sisters in the series, and each sister's gonna get a book. And there's a big mystery, a big mystery that they're dealing with in the book, but plus also a romance. So for this one, the girl is living in France at the beginning, but then she moves to England to be with her 2 sisters. But while she's in France, she sees her ex ex-boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. I forget if they were married or not, but I think it was just ex-boyfriend, who was like abusive, and it was a bad situation. So she got out of it, but he is a bit of a stalker and like just controlling and sending her threatening texts and stuff like that. So she's afraid, but she does meet another man in France, and he's great. And they end up both being in England at the same time too. So they are connecting and forming a relationship. And what I really liked in particular was the faith content. And that's what stands out a lot about her books, from Captured in Frame and The Final Word. The faith content, it feels like they're actually Christians, actually living out their life as a Christian. Like, they talk about church, they talk about praying and the Bible, and in their conversation, they just naturally bring it up, and it doesn't feel forced. Like, I feel like she weaves in faith to the story really well. So that is like the main thing that I really like. And then I do find the dialogue realistic in almost a cringy way, which is kind of what I said in my video, because I was like, the dialogue, like sometimes the way they flirt and stuff, it cringes me out, but it feels like, oh, I could actually see this happening in real life, and I'm a little cringed by it. So like, it's kind of a weird experience, but I didn't fault it for that. I thought like, oh, this is well done. Like, I could actually see this being a real conversation. And so I enjoyed that. I do find, I guess, a little bit, the scenes kind of feel jumpy. Like, there's a lot of scene cuts, and just sometimes the story doesn't flow super well for this one. I give the first book 5 stars though. I thought it was great. This book, yeah, it was a little too jumpy, I think, in scenes, but otherwise, like, I did really enjoy it. So 4 stars. Okay, then I read Assistant to the Villain by Nicole Meyer. And I also read Apprentice to the Villain, the sequel to it. And both of them are 4 stars for me. So I read this book because I got this book from the library. It was a keep this book. So when it's a little too damaged, the library will give it to you for free. So that is how I got this book. And I was like, okay, I'm curious about it. And my library also had the audiobook. So I got the audiobook and I listened to it. Audiobook is great. Really enjoyed it. And this is what I would say is it's a cozy fantasy, because the stakes are super low, but they're surrounded, like the language they use, how do I explain it? They talk about, oh, I beheaded this person, or, oh, there's like skulls lying around, or, oh, they blew the legs off, or something, like, but talking about it in a casual way where the stakes are low. And like, even in the situations that they get into, like, it's like, oh, someone could kill them. It never even gets close to that. And there's always like a way out. So it was not like stressful to read. It was funny. So that's that. What this follows is a human girl is living in this world. She needs money. Her dad is sick. So she responds to a help, or actually, there's not even a help wanted ad. She just like runs into this villain. There's a guy called the Villain in this like kingdom, and everyone's afraid of him. Everyone hates him, whatever. She runs into him and is like, oh, hi, like, do you need an assistant? Because I need a job. And he's like, sure. And so that's how that goes. And that's kind of how silly it is. Like, she's not afraid of him, and he has a soft spot for her. And like, it's not dark feeling. It's just silly, which was good for the moment. Like, I did enjoy it because I needed something lighthearted to listen to while I was busy like I was in the month. And I did enjoy it. Some of the content warnings, I will say, there is language. They say the F word. It's not a lot all throughout, but there's language. That's what I'll say. And then, yeah, like I said, talking about like murder a lot, but it is like no spice. So that is great. So if you could, so I wouldn't not recommend it, but the language piece might deter some of you, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And I actually liked the sequel as well and gave that 4 stars. The sequel has, I think, 2 kissing scenes in it. Yeah. And they talk about being really attracted to each other, but because it's surrounded by this lightheartedness, it doesn't feel inappropriate or vulgar to me. So I'm fine with it. And yeah, it is like still no spice, but just like while they're kissing, they're like, wow, I really like this person. I want to be with them. But it's lighthearted like that. So hopefully that makes sense. There you go. Okay, 3.5 stars / 4 stars. Always Watching by Lynette Eason. I've had this book on my TBR for a long time, years and years, so I finally read it. I'm very happy about it, and it was good. It's forgettable for me, but I remember while I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is pretty good, but again, forgettable. So what it is a team of bodyguards can be hired by, like, either privately or by the I was gonna say RCMP. That is the Canadian police force. Anyways, they're in America though. By the police, to just help protect people that are having life threatened. Yeah. And so for this one, you follow a celebrity guy who is getting like death threats and someone is stalking him. This female bodyguard gets assigned to him, and I really liked that concept. I liked the bodyguards, I liked the mystery, I liked even the plot, but the romance definitely fell flat. It was not believable at all. I didn't even see that she liked him. Like, there was no feelings there, in my opinion. Like, there wasn't any connection. He clearly was fascinated by her, but she was just doing her job, and I just didn't see how she's like, oh yeah, I like him back, kind of thing. So the romance fell flat for me, but everything else I did enjoy, and I don't feel that inclined to pick up the rest of the books. If they had audiobooks, I would, but I just happened to own this one, so I read it, but I'm not going to probably continue unless I can get an audiobook. So that's what I'll say. Okay, another 3.5 is Chasing Fireflies by Charles Martin. I think I ended up giving it 4 on Goodreads, but okay, audiobook was great. Love his audiobooks. His books sometimes can be very slow. He takes his time with his writing. It's very poetic and metaphorical and just beautiful. I really do enjoy his writing, but sometimes the plot is sacrificed because I'm like, why do you need to tell me this, you know? And sometimes the why is answered by the ending, and in this case it was. So there were parts and scenes where I'm like, I don't care about this, why are you telling me this? But if I was a little bit more invested, it would make the ending hit harder, because the ending of this book is so incredibly good. I was blown away. Had no idea, no inkling, and I thought it was great. Very impressed with the ending. So because of that, I gave it 4 stars, but like, it's a 3-star really for like overall enjoyment, but ending was very impressive to me. So this follows, and it's also hard to describe the book because the plot is so confusing, but it follows a man who was in foster care himself and was adopted by this older couple. And I forget if he's law enforcement or if he's just like a detective or something. I forget what he is, because like, it's kind of hard to grasp sometimes, but I will say trigger warnings for child abuse in this book, because like, he doesn't tread lightly on details, but he is called in to help this little boy that they found like on the side of train tracks, and he clearly has been abused, and he's also nonverbal. He doesn't speak. So they're trying to figure out where he came from and how to help him, and he ends up going into foster care with the couple that fostered the man. So it's a good situation for the boy. And then it flashes back to the man's time as a foster kid, and then also how they're like helping the boy. And they're trying to basically discover what's your real name, who are your parents, where do you come from, who do you belong to? And it was so beautiful, honestly. So I have high regard for this book, but it was boring sometimes too. So it's one of those things. But I'm really glad I read it, and the audiobook was great. Okay, then I meant to put this in a video, but it never made it in because I read it pretty fast. The Rose Bargain by Sasha Peyton Smith. Is that right? I talked a little bit about this on my live, but otherwise I don't think I've talked about it. This was a random pickup of a young adult fantasy book, and I had I was just physically reading it, and it's a really quick read. What I heard about it is it's the selection plus Bridgerton, so basically Regency style selection. And I love the selection series back in the day. It's so nostalgic. So a big thing that I'm discovering that I feel like I probably should just avoid all books with this in it is fairies. I'm just not into fairy fantasy because they turn sexual too easily. Because basically the lore is there's the human world, and then there's something called the other world, which is like an alternate dimension where fairies live. And there's a door or a gate or whatever where you can pass through and cross over. And the legend is that the fairy queen from the other world came and saved humanity from war, and she became their queen. And fairies have this thing where they can grant wishes, but you have to bargain for the wish. You have to like give up something and then you'll get something in return. So like you can give up the ability to smell flowers to get perfect teeth and stuff like that. And it's called the rose bargain, I guess. Or I forget what the rose part is, but whatever. So every citizen can bargain like this, and you can only bargain once, and it's irreversible, and the fairy queen rules like that. And she has decided she wants to find a wife for her son. And so they do kind of like a selection where, girls, if you want to vie for my son's hand, come and do it. And so that's what you follow. You follow one of the girls who signs up for it. And I didn't like the fairy part. And there were like, it was a quick read, easy read. It was interesting a little bit, but the fairies are so evil in it, and I really hate that. And then also, it has an open door scene. Like, it has mild language. I think maybe like the B word like once or twice, but otherwise like no language. But a stinking open door scene. I was like, it's not necessary to have this many details. Like, it wasn't graphic, I would say, but it was very implied what they were doing, and it didn't fade to black. Like, they did it, and then they're like, wow, that was great. Let's keep talking, kind of thing. Like, no fade to black. And I was like, don't put this in young adults' heads. Don't put this in teenagers' heads. It's just not healthy. And I was not happy about it. And so I gave this book 3 stars because there were things I liked about it. But that content, though, I'm like, wow. So I will not be recommending this on my channel. I probably won't talk about it much, and I don't plan to read the sequel because I don't care enough. Like, it ends on a huge cliffhanger, but I just don't care enough because it's going to be more fairy politics that I just don't want any part of. So I'm giving up. But that was really upsetting. So yeah. Okay, 2 DNFs. First DNF is I Think He Knows by Katie Bailey. Okay, so That Happened is the first book. 5 stars, loved it. I started the second book, I Think He Knows. I found the characters so insufferable and annoying, and a bit of the dialogue and just everything about it. I was like, I don't like this story. I don't want to listen to it. So I'm not going to force myself to listen to it. So I DNF'd it. End of story. Don't know what happened there. Yeah, so I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, he's a celebrity as well. Right. Okay. She loves him. He's a celebrity. She feels not good enough for him, but they're besties. Oh, and he does love her back. Yeah, he does love her back. Okay. Because I only listened to a little bit of it, so I forget a little bit, but there you go. I just didn't like the setup. I didn't like it. So that's that. And she has a kid, I think. No, I forget. I don't know. Anyways, wouldn't recommend. I don't know. Last DNF is The Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. Very surprised by this. Well, not that surprised, but so I started the audiobook, language right away. Okay. F-bombs and B words, and I'm just like, and then plus the characters so unlikable. I can't handle it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So DNF right away. It is what it is. This is a thriller. It's told like an interview style a little bit, but like also flashbacks, because in the present time, you know, one of the sisters died, and then you go back to the past to see like what's up with the sister. I don't know. But then yeah, too much language, and I just was like, oh no, not into it. Plus it's long. Like the audiobook was 16 hours. I'm like, no. So there you go, DNF, and I will be getting rid of this book. So there you go. I feel so raspy because I filmed 2 videos today, but I hope you enjoyed. I am on vacation while you're watching this, so very excited, and I will hopefully be filming a reading vlog. If I can't get it up by Saturday, I may skip Saturday's upload, so just to warn you, this may be the only video you see this week, just to give me time to edit the vlog and get it up. So just so you know, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching my content and being excited with me. I will write all of the books down below that I talked about, and I'll link any reading vlogs down below that they appeared in. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on some of these books. And oh, I totally forgot a book. I'm just like looking down and I definitely forgot a book. Come Back to Me by Jody Hedlund. Dude, I definitely forgot this book. It's fine. Here we go. So if you're still here, hello, extra book. 3 stars. This was my Patreon buddy read for June, and you know, I'd knock it down to 2 stars. I didn't like it that much. It follows this world where, I mean, it's contemporary, but it's also fantastical because humans, or no, okay. See, I don't even know. Okay, this family, the dad is a researcher guy. He wants to find holy water because he thinks holy water can cure any disease / make you live forever / make you travel in time. So he's searching for it. He goes missing, or no, he goes into a coma. So his daughter is like, what's my dad doing? Sees him, finds his research, looks for the holy water, drinks the holy water herself, goes back in time. You follow her back in time in the Middle Ages, in the 1300s. She meets a dude, she falls in love with him, and now she's in the 1300s, and what's gonna happen? And then she has people in her actual time trying to figure out what's going on. I just didn't like it. I don't like time travel, first of all, and the faith content, you could say, was just weird because of the holy water piece. Like, it just felt like, why are you like searching for this thing to heal you when God is the healer, not the holy water, you know? It was just a weird message there. And then the romance was just purely based on physical attraction for the most of it. And it just felt weird. It felt a little weird. So I didn't like it. I'm not going to continue. Wouldn't recommend it. Never think about it again. Okay. That is officially everything. I'm losing my voice. I'm going to end here, but thank you so much for watching, you guys. Again, appreciate you being here, and I'll see you when I see you. I'm not sure when it'll be, but you'll see me again. So thank you so much. I love you guys, and goodbye.